Right now, someone with half your ability is ahead of you. Why? Not because they're better, because they appear certain. They speak without pause. They act like the world owes them. And the world, predictably, agrees. Meanwhile, you hesitate. You analyze. You wait for the perfect timing, the perfect words, the perfect feeling. And in that hesitation, someone else claims the opportunity that should have been yours. Understand this. Confidence is not a feeling, it's a weapon. If you don't wield it, someone else will use it against you. Boldness, even when empty, is more respected than brilliance wrapped in doubt. The world doesn't reward potential, it rewards conviction. This video isn't about motivation. It's not about comfort, it's about control. You're about to learn how to eliminate hesitation, command presence, and speak like a man who expects the room to obey. Because from this moment on, your weakness is no longer tolerated. It will be replaced. You weren't born hesitant. You were conditioned that way. Conditioned to obey, to seek approval, to wait for permission. What lives inside you isn't a man. It's a servant, trained to please, programmed to submit. A loyal pet, flinching at disapproval, waiting for a pat on the head. That apologetic voice in your mind, that need to explain, to soften, to check if you're allowed, that's not you. That's the inner servant. And if you don't kill him, he will kill your future. Power is not requested, it is assumed. It isn't earned through patience, it is seized through presence. Your transformation starts now, with inversion. When you want to shrink, you expand. When you want to explain, you pause. When you want to apologize, you stare. Because dangerous confidence doesn't come from being ready. It comes from doing what your weaker self would never dare. You walk faster, you take up space. You stop nodding, you stop softening your tone. You speak like your words carry weight, not suggestions, but decisions. Confidence is not a mindset, it's an identity. It is not the mind we want to be oppressed, whereas we die for ourselves, it's the place. It is the worst of our beauty to protect. So here's your first law. If it makes you smaller, destroy it. Whether it's a thought, a habit, a person, kill it. If it causes hesitation, confront it. If it weakens you, deny it. If it seeks to be liked, laugh at it. The world will tell you to be nice, polite, acceptable. But here's the brutal truth. Nice men get used, then discarded, then replaced. Powerful men are not nice, they are precise, measured, intentional. And it begins by executing the voice in your head that still begs for approval. You don't need permission, you don't need validation. You need one thing, the willingness to become unignorable. Not to others, but to the version of yourself you refuse to be ever again. Because once the servant dies, the ruler awakens. Real power doesn't walk in yelling, it walks in still, controlled, heavy with presence, not through volume, but through silence, through a stare, through stillness. You don't need to be the loudest, you need the air to change when you enter. You walk like you belong, not because they said so, but because you decided so. It's not always the one with the crown who rules, it's the silent one in the corner, who speaks rarely, but carries gravity. Silence is strategy. Most men talk too much, trying to impress, trying to gain approval. But every word reveals insecurity. You move slowly, you speak last, you speak rarely, but when you do, every word sounds like it closes a door. Every sentence sounds like an outcome, not a question. And when others speak, you watch. You let them reveal themselves, their fears, their hunger, their weakness. Because the one who speaks first often exposes the most. Words are weapons. Most men speak like they're asking for permission to exist. You can spot them. They rise in tone at the end of every sentence. They laugh nervously. They say things like, I think, maybe, I'm not sure, but. That is not speech. That is surrender. Power isn't in what you say. It's in how you say it. People don't follow logic. They follow certainty. If you sound sure, they assume you're right. If you hesitate, they tune you out. Your voice must become slow, deliberate, final. You don't speak to be heard. You speak like your words will be obeyed. And if they're not, you don't argue. You don't defend. You simply state, that's incorrect, then move on. Because debating means you're still trying to convince. True power doesn't convince, it imposes. Confidence without emotional control is decoration. You can walk tall, speak well, and carry presence. But if anyone can trigger you, you're not powerful. You're exposed. Most men fail here. They master the outer frame, but they remain emotionally available to everyone. One insult and they crack. One compliment and they melt. One rejection and they spiral. You are not free until your emotions belong to you and no one else. Your mind must become a fortress, closed to the world, open only to purpose. Enemies are not the threat. Emotional dependency is. Once people know what moves you, they know where to strike. They stop fearing you. They start managing you. And manageable men are discarded the moment they stop being useful. So, what's the answer? You kill the need to be liked. You reject the habit of reacting. You become psychologically unreactable. Not emotionless, but unshakable. You feel everything, but you respond only when it serves your outcome. Rejection is not a wound. It's a message. If they said no, it's because they believed they lost nothing. Good. That's data. That's your edge. Now you pull back, quietly, strategically. No explanation, no reaction, just absence. And in that silence, you build. Let them feel the void. Let them wonder how they lost access. Let them guess how far you've gone. You don't chase, you evolve. And when you return as a force. Not to be accepted, but to be unavoidable. That's not revenge. That's strategy. Confidence without presence is noise. Presence without control is shallow. But when you combine all three, presence, control, and unshakable certainty, you don't just influence rooms, you own them. You don't speak to be liked. You speak to make others recalculate themselves. You don't chase approval. You make people feel the cost of losing access to you. And most of all, you don't beg to be chosen, because now you are the standard. You've been rebuilt, not inspired, not motivated, reforged from the inside out. You no longer seek peace. You seek clarity. You no longer chase people. You chase control. You no longer explain. You decide. You've become unreachable, untouchable, unforgettable. This is not self-help. This is war. And you just became a weapon.